Ladies and gentlemen, Jazz Gonzo here. What's next? What's going on right now, especially in the last day or so, is that the George Floyd trial began yesterday. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday late morning. And of course, the usual suspects, CNN, MSNBC, the legacy media, uh, have concentrated solely on this like it was the Super Bowl. And as we all know, that of course, those who are still unfamiliar with George Floyd, I don't know how anyone can be at this point, is that this was a guy who was whose life was snuffed out by a knee of a officer, Derek Chauvin, in Minneapolis last year. It was May 28th, Memorial Day. And of course, as we all know, over a dozen cities got burned, businesses destroyed, residential areas destroyed, families upended because of the cause. Now, it was never about George Floyd. It was about Black Lives Matter, to the tune of $90 million that Black Lives Matter received from corporations who bent the knee, who bent over and opened up their checkbooks because they didn't want to seem to be, wait for it, racist. Now, being I got that out of the way, as the trial goes on, right now, from what I've seen, there really hasn't been anything groundbreaking, mind-blowing in regards to the whole situation. But it comes down to this, is that more than likely, from what I am hearing, is that is a second and a third degree charge has been issued upon Derek Chauvin. Now, third degree, I think will carry a minimal, I think, of 10 years. I think. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. Um, but the question is whether he is going to be convicted or not. To me, I think he will. I think there is a conviction, a third degree at least, a second degree at best. Um, but there's background that he was on a number of drugs. You had the body cam footage, which of course was not released, conveniently not released, during, all the burnings because, while, he was an innocent black man. You could say that. Yeah, you could say that. He passed a counterfeit 20, which led to all this. But of course, anybody seen the body cam footage knows that there is a lot more to a simple, well, this cop was racist. He woke up one day and he decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to go kill a black man. No, no, there's a lot more to it. And I'm setting this up for this. While the trial is going on, a little something occurred. Let's take a look. This comes out of the Washington Examiner. Uber Eats driver ejected from car and killed during carjacking by two teenage girls. Now, this story has pretty much gotten buried as it happened. And this was March 27th as we are doing this story on Tuesday the 30th. A Washington, D.C. Uber Eats driver is dead after two teenagers attempted to carjack him, sending him fleeing for his life and ultimately flipping his car over. Police say two girls aged 13 and 15 attempted to carjack the man while near Nationals Park in D.C., Southeast neighborhood, causing him to flee, flip his car, He was ejected from his seat onto the sidewalk, but they don't tell you, head first, and subsequently died. This was the tweet from Shamari Stone. Exclusive. Law enforcement sources tell me two teenage girls aged 13 and 15 are accused of an armed carjacking in southeast Washington, D.C. The car crashed and flipped over near Nats Park. The victim landed on the sidewalk and died at the hospital. Police arrested the two suspects. And this was out of NBC, Washington. This is the footage, appalling footage of the carjacking near National Park and the results of a Pakistani immigrant, Uber Eats driver, Mohammad Anwar. Teenage girls, police say, used a taser to steal the car and face murder charges. Now, I'm going to play a little bit of this. Like I said, it's very hard to take.
They're thieves. What's going on? Call the cops. They're trying to steal a car. This is my car. They're trying to steal a car? Yeah, he is their son. No, this is my car. The one. Stop it! Oh my God! Somebody just stole it. She's stealing their car. You're stealing the car? Yeah, we called the cops. Call the cops. Call the cops. It's been called. It's been called. It's been called. It's been called. They stole the car. These girls stole the car. Hey, come on. Hey, they stole the car. They stole the car. These girls. Who else? That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Everybody's out. Everybody step back from the car. I'm going to need everybody to step back from the car. Please, my son is in here. No.
Now, as you can see in the corner right there, that is the Pakistani driver. Landed face first, ejected from his car, and he subsequently died. Two females, 13 and 15. You know, taser the guy. Try to rob him. Then took off with his car, with him still in the... But yet, this story gets buried because of what's more important. To make sure Derek Chauvin, the police officer who knelt on George Floyd's neck for almost 9 minutes, gets what he deserves, and rightly so. He should. I'm not saying he shouldn't receive prison time. He should. But when stories like this get buried, when you have 13 and 15-year-olds who basically are trash, who they're trash, the way they were raised. When you have a almost 75% out of wedlock birth in the black community, black on black crime, those things get buried because, well, there are more important things like the cause. And speaking of, we are going to take a little look at this. This comes out of Breitbart. Van Jones, if Chauvin is not convicted in Floyd trial, America will be in a dangerous position. You mean like more burnings, more destructions, more looting, more I don't know, more burning down Wendy's and police stations? Really? CNN political commentator Van Jones said Monday on CNN's Fredo primetime that if former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin were not found guilty of killing George Floyd, America will be in a, quote, dangerous position as a country. Jones said, everybody I'm talking to are frustrated, re-triggered, re-traumatized. Seeing that video. seeing that complete contempt for life. You have a generation of African Americans and their allies. I'm talking this entire young generation. This is watching this. If you see, this is watching this. If you see America, listen. The system is on trial here. The system's on trial. I'm not going to go into further. Let's just hear it from the horse's mouth.
Joins me now. Van, good to see you. What did you take from today and the reactions to today around the country?
Look, I mean, everybody I'm talking to are frustrated, re-triggered, re-traumatized. Seeing that video, seeing the complete contempt for life. You have a generation of African Americans and their allies. I'm talking this entire young generation that is watching this to see if America listen. The system is on trial here. The system is on trial, and I can't tell you. People have tried to push away from this, move on from this. Today brought it all back home for tens of millions of people.
Now, did this bring certain things back? Yeah, it did. There is no doubt. But the fact of the matter is, when he makes a suggestion regarding this is a system on trial for a generation, and listen, you can ask any of the people who have been marching out here in the middle of this pandemic. And again, pushing the pandemic. Yeah. This is going to be, there will be 500 million people watching when the verdict comes out. So, when you are dealing with a situation such as George Floyd, when you're dealing with a martyr, which is what the media made him, the media turned him into a martyr. As I said in my opening, Black Lives Matter, the organization, is not about black lives that matter. Black Lives organization all it cares about is the money, the influence, the political influence. You had those in Black Lives Matter who are saying that Biden owes us now. We got him into the White House. He owes us now. Really? How's that work so far? Really? Have you been invited to the White House to sit down with Biden to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we need to hammer things out because you owe me. No. It's all about Black Lives Matter. That's all it was. And now they're not really talking about, this is a Marxist organization. They're not even talking about that anymore. They're not talking about George Floyd. They're more concerned about the, about trannies, getting into women's sports. That's what they're concerned about. They're more concerned about the alphabet group in the last several days, from what I'm reading, than they are about this. But when you have when you have a innocent Pakistani man who came to this country to make, to have a better life, decides to get involved in Uber to make it, to either full-time job or to add, some money to for his family. And sadly, he died because of a 13 and 15-year-old who, like I said, are trash, who were raised, like trash. Like I said, I don't know their parents, and I don't really care because it's not about them. Well, it kind of is about them and how they were raised. This is where we're at. But it's all about making sure that Chauvin gets convicted. It's all about that. If you ask CNN and MSNBC, and mainly the legacy media, only a few made the DC story a point. Tucker Carlson was one. And I'm sure a number of those online. And of course, this program. But I'll leave it there for now. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Broganzo. This is what's next. If you want to see more videos just like this, please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, hit that subscription button, slam that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.